Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Talks Daily podcast, where we dive into the intriguing world of technology and its implication on our lives. And I'm here at Latitude 59 in Estonia, the birthplace of the digital revolution. And joining me today is a man who has been instrumental in shaping this revolution. His name is Taavi Kotka, and he's an entrepreneur and the first Chief Information Officer for the Government of Estonia. And he's been a pioneer in the country, which has rapidly become the world's most advanced digital nation. And he's co-founded the world's first E-Residency program. And during his tenure as Estonia's CIO, he also introduced a host of innovative ideas, transforming not just Estonia, but also influencing digital strategies around the world. But now he's in the private sector, and he's utilising his expertise to propel startups and assist large enterprises and governments in their digital transformational journey. So I want to learn more about the man who has truly disrupted the way governments view and utilise technology. But enough from me. Buckle up and hold on tight, because it's time for me to beam your ears all the way to Estonia, where today's guest is waiting to speak with us. So, massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, so my name is Taavi Kotka, which translates into English like David Eagle. And I'm an engineer, a serial entrepreneur. I think I have to claim that title. I was the first Chief Information Officer of Estonian government. So if you haven't ever heard anything about e-Estonia, then most probably my team has part of that story. And today I'm a founder of KOS, we pronounce it in this way. In English, it's actually KOS. So it's a KOS.io. And the startup is doing virtual shares for your community. So they can give your community skin in the game. They can be part of your success story.
And what I love about what you're doing here is throughout your career, you've covered all areas of the spectrum. And as you said, you are the co-founder and the CEO of the E-Residency program, angel investor in several unicorns, first CIO for the Government of Estonia. But I've got to ask, can you share your origin story, or that moment where your passion for technology, what that spark was? Can you remember what that was?
Yeah, my dad was the chess player, master. And I don't know where he got an idea, but in 1992 or 1993, he bought me a computer. And I was 13, 14 years old, and it was a huge thing back then. The computer costed more than a car. And I don't know, he was a teacher, where he actually stole the money. Most probably he sold, there was an ability to sell some forest, maybe he sold some forest. But I had the computer, and I think that's where the spark started.
I watched you give an incredible presentation a few days ago about how everything points to how to boost growth with the help of the law. Can you offer a bit of an overview of that presentation for anyone that wasn't sat in the room that day?
No, I was asked to tell digital Estonia's story, why Estonia is so digitally advanced. And it's quite blunt and simple. The country wanted to grow, the country wanted to create more wealth to the people, which means that you have to get extra revenues and you have to keep the cost down. So in the beginning, when everybody starts, you do the investments and you build up your economy after being occupied by Soviet Union more than 50 years. It's you concentrate on cost, and which means that Estonia is a small country, people-wise, 1.3 million people, but large, land-wise. All the Nordic countries are super large. So you can't afford a bank office in every village or government officer everywhere. We need to push people to self-service. And that's how you drive costs down, people doing the stuff by themselves. Using computers, because back then there wasn't any smartphones yet. And we observed Sweden and Finland and understood that if you just ask people politely that please use self-service instead of coming physically to the office, today it's normal, but 30 years ago or 20 years ago, it wasn't. So which means that you have to have a kick, you have to have a push. And especially on government side, it's very simpler to do that law. And then also you can support private sector, regulating certain aspects that, say, you can't transfer money more than 200 euros without strong identity. Yeah. That can only be given, or you have to, you have to relay, you can't use the PIN calculator, but you have to use a proper digital identity tools, which, by the way, are supported by the government and provided by the private sector, and also gives an access to all the system in Estonia. And that's why they basically strongly support reform. Or like teachers, like by law, you have to put the grades in the system. Like if you don't do that, you cannot get paid. And like this kind of like small innovation through pain, like all the things happen.
Love that. And one of the things that I was thinking about after your presentation was that all over the world, it's widely accepted that the private sector moves much quicker than the public sector, and governments traditionally just can't keep up with that pace of technological change. But obviously, here in Estonia, that's the complete opposite.
Because actually, it's not opposite. I mean, like the private sector still drives. Like, I mean, yeah, we wouldn't have our unicorns.
True. But I mean, 99% of government services being online is just unheard of. And you've done it all through trust and transparency of everything.
It's not so big deal, because if you think about it, like, okay, you have the applying for the driving license, you have it like in as an e-service. Like, how many times during lifetime you actually apply for the driving license, or like how many times you apply for a construction permit, or like how many times you are getting married or divorced, so, or how many children you have, like, so, like, and every year it's a different service. So having a good customer service experience with the government, especially digital, if you do something very rarely, like, so you actually, like, there is no good feeling in ever. But with the banking, like, you do it in every day. So what we focused was that, like, data needs to be capable to move from to government and vice versa. Also, like, all kind of trust issues, like controls, background checks, etc. If we can automate them, let's automate them. But also, let's support digital tools like digital signature, for example. Estonia started to use heavily digital signature before DocuSign was bought.
Yeah.
So you understand, like, the whole world, like, doing DocuSign, which is actually not proper signature from security perspective, like, and like our countries are like, I mean, you don't do that, or you don't do that, like, so you need to have some kind of like American software for this, like, so it's like annoying, and to the extent that yes, you do voting, but it's still like private sector is the biggest user of identity, biggest user of authorization, I mean signature, biggest user of data going from one register to another, like, so government needs to provide environment, and that's what I think Estonia has done in a great way.
You have done it in a fantastic way. And I think you're remarkably humble on just how much you've achieved here, because there will be governments listening all over the world, or representative from government.
They all have heard me personally. I mean, to be honest, like, I had a dream one night, and the dream was I was in hell, like, because with my track record, like, heaven is closed, like, sealed, but I was in hell. And you know what's my punishment to eternity? No, I have to explain to German and Swiss government officer how to build a digital society. That's my punishment for eternity. Like, you can't imagine how many times I've done it. Like, so it's like basically like talking to the, I don't know, like a wall is the same thing. Like, so
it's the curse of being a trailblazer, right?
Yeah.
But of course, we're recording this at Latitude 59, which is the flagship startup tech event at the world's first digital society. But how would you describe Latitude to our international listeners, and what are you most excited about this year?
I mean, when the first time happened, like Finns have this famous conference called Slush.
Yes.
So first time, I think Latitude, or first year, Latitude was like a smaller copy of Slush. And like basically every country, I think, needs those local events also, not only the regional ones that to come together and share ideas and thoughts. But now I think last 4 or 5 years, Latitude has become like more with their own face. And definitely it's something that investors want to visit. That if you want, let's say, and it's also, I think, Estonian track record with unicorns. Like, so if you want to access Estonian, Baltic, or even Finnish, like startups, you have to be here. You have to be in Slush, you have to be here. Right? And so definitely have made the name.
And there is a lot of talk, and possibly not too much action, about the lack of women in tech problem. And this is something else that stood out for me at your presentation the other day. So can you tell me a little bit how you looked at research on this problem, and then as a result created a solution? And you've already got something like 1,000 girls on a waiting list. But can you just talk about that?
No, that number is wrong. It's 3,000.
3,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
So every country has the problem that if you think how many like women you have in technology. The ratio, the European average is 17%. Estonia is doing slightly better than Europe. It's 21. The best in Europe is Bulgaria with 28. The UK, I think, is around 17, 18. And what it actually means in, I'll say, if you're a software development company, and if you look at your resources, you have different positions, like newbie tester until the system architect, or like newbie quality manager, until the senior programmer, so there is a level of salaries. And if you take the most highest salaries, like system architects, senior programmers, like those kind of positions, all men, no women. And the reason is very simple, women are actually pushed away from technology during their preschool, secondary school, and high school times. Yes, there are like robotics and like programming, but they're full of boys, like 10 boys, 1 girl, usually statistically. And they actually don't give a chance to practice, to learn technology. So it's same like with tennis play. Like if you don't practice tennis, you don't become a tennis player.
Yeah.
So if you don't practice technology, you never will choose this as a career choice. And so the problem lays somewhere lower, like in the age of 8, 9, 10. And I studied this with my wife. And we have 4 children. First of them is a daughter, and she was kicked out from the robotics. So we were irritated, and we wanted to show that that there is a problem in the system. Not in our daughter, obviously. And we studied the UK boarding schools, that sex-based schools, female schools do way better in STEM than the mixed schools. We studied Colombia, we studied the US, and found that we need to remove the boys. Mm. We remove the boys, and if you teach and train girls in technology, robotics, programming, drones, physics, doesn't matter. If you remove the boys, they are very enthusiastic. They truly want to learn. They want to study. There's no churn. They want to continue to come back next year, continue, and they love it. And it doesn't need extra resources, because if you need to train, let's say 8 up 10-year girl in technology, any parent can do that. Yes, the lesson needs to be prepared, the materials need to be there, but every parent can do it. Wow. And we built it as a startup. It's an NGO, so it's 100% paid by my family, but all the courses and hoodies and the materials and everything. And it's all around Estonia, and it's 3,000 girls in the system. But we still, they are still, the oldest ones are now 15, 16, which means that if they choose this as a career, we will see it after 3 years from now. What we start, again, because of our own daughter, we will have a special course now, around 1,000 girls together with our Taltech University, to prepare the true believers that truly want to. You already know that I want to go to IT, and they can also prepare themselves for that. We have a 2 years course for them. If you want to check it out, then it's unicornsquad.ee. Unicornsquad.ee.
And one of the things that stands out to me here in Estonia from the short time I've been here is the strength of the tech community and the collaboration. And I read that you believe that a strong community is the beating heart of every successful business and will be in the future. So can you expand on this and how you see the tech scene in Estonia?
No, Estonian tech scene is very simple. Small country, which means that you have limited amount of people in every area. We all meet each other in funerals and weddings. That's why I was actually hired the government job. That somebody got the understanding. This guy can't work in the private sector for a period. Let's invite him to the government. It's Estonian mafia it's a good mafia, which means that we truly help each other. If somebody can open a door to another startup, they will do it. So from that perspective, it's very good. But what I have missed as an investor or founder, during your journey, whatever you build, there are so many helpers. In the beginning, there are the 3 Fs, the family, fools, and friends, and and the first early adopters, and somebody who believed in you and gave a testimonial, or made an intro to a significant customer. So none of those people are remembered, because you didn't write it down, and when you do exit, there were so many people you don't remember them all, so you forget them all. This disease is called founder's amnesia. So if they're successful, they never forget. They never remember. If they fail, nobody cares, but success is never sure. I was so irritated, Figma did exit, selling themselves to Adobe, 20 billion. And in their message, and then there was oh, thank you community for helping us to build this great product last 10 years. But here is your finger. And so, I mean, if you have, let's say, you share 1 billion with the community, you actually truly help to build that company. 1,000 people could get 1 million, or 2,000 people can get 500,000, and you can do the math. So every company has a certain amount of true believers, true fans. And historically, there hasn't been a way to give them a share in the company, equity. Too hard, it's too bureaucratic. It's a mess. So we solved that in Kush, and now you can. So if they generate revenue for you, give them equity, without messing up your cap table.
Yeah.
And because with current technologies, whoever thinks out a new idea or a new approach, it will be instantly copied. Mm-hmm. And it will be copied rapidly because tools are AI and everything makes it so simple, which means that you have to have a differentiator. The supply or something that is your core thing needs to be stuck with you. And the most powerful thing that any company can give is equity. And the good news is instead of giving bring me 3 new customers get $50.
Yeah.
This is money going out now. You say that, okay, bring me 3 customers, I give you equity in a worth of $50. But you only can redeem it when companies doing buybacks, let's say in B round, or meanwhile, or in the case of exit, or if you pay dividends.
Yeah.
And if you go belly up, it's nothing. But you have remembered, and you're willing to share, and that's everything. And that's how you build a community, because you have to have this trust that you are not using them only, but they value that have a say and being recognized. It's actually more powerful than the money. If you look at the Stack Overflow, Wikipedia, or there's no money. Yeah. It's all about recognition and have a say.
And one of the other things that I love about you is you believe that technologies can help build a more equitable society. And I always say on every episode, technology works best when it brings people together. So this seems like a perfect opportunity to introduce people to cause. So can you tell me how you offer companies a new way to achieve their business goals more efficiently by delivering greater value to all their stakeholders, but while improving their financial and social impact performance? It feels so progressive.
I mean, I've always believed that you build companies together with your community.
Yeah.
But you invite to the customer event, you only invite the CEOs, invite CEOs, let's say, to the opera or to the golfing course. So you don't give back too much to the people who actually truly contribute every day. So why? So it has to be so hassle. 95%, you're absolutely right. 95% during the lifetime only have salary. They don't have any other income. And in any society, in the end of the day, the wealth always accumulates into 1% of the people of the country. So there has to be a way to make it more fair. And the fact that I'm part of your community and, let's say, using your telecom services or whatever, you should be grateful for this. And even if you give me back a little, let's say £1, £2, maybe it's not worth to take it out, but why don't we just combine it and buy a racehorse? And are you getting
yeah.
Or let's do something for the community. Let's refresh the roof of the church.
Yeah. So I've got to ask then, where do you go from here? What excites you about the road ahead? And ultimately, as someone that's almost been and seen it all, what makes you jump out of bed in the morning?
No, I mean, I actually already see companies who give 30% away to the community.
Yeah.
As a note, it's not this is your part. No, any marketplace, motivate to supply. They always have a choice to go with the other marketplace. So motivate them, give them a skin in the game. If they generate revenue, they collect equity. And I think where you want to be with your company after 5 years, draw some lines or use our models for this, and voila, you have a formula how to motivate them. And it doesn't mean that you just start to throw shares here and there.
Yeah.
No. If the company really grows, revenue grows, profit grows, whatever, they will get their part.
Well, I love chatting with you today. Before I let you go, though, there's a big pressure on everyone to be in an almost state of continuous learning. And I've got to ask, how do you continuously learn? Is there keep up to speed with the latest trends and technology, etc.? Is it your people? Is it books, podcasts? How do you keep up to speed with things?
Definitely people.
Yeah.
Interacting with smart people is always good. Now there's a chat GPT. There's an option also for Finns and Estonians. I mean, we don't like to interact. So being together with a smart person, the computer is like the only thing you can ask for. But I read a lot.
Yeah.
But I read it in a 2 levels. So I browse a lot first, and then if it's really interesting, then I make an extra step and order a book or something. But lots of articles, lots of Twitter, just understanding, okay, this topic is now important for Andres, and okay, let's look into it. So, okay, I understand it. The background, being an engineer and a country level engineer, actually gives you understanding how systems are built. And they are not so much different. It's quite boring, to be honest. Which means that the basic topics I have are connected with my own studies. I mean, very quickly you can capture the essence. And so I don't have a secret formula. It's not like I'm waking at 4 a.m. and then I do 200 push-ups and then write a novel. No. Do I drink? Yes.
Maybe that's the secret. But for anyone listening wanting to find out more information about your latest venture, contact you or your team, where would you like to point everyone listening to learn more about you?
About myself, I mean, I'm not so interested at all. But the business is the unicornsquad.de is one, and kos.io is the second one. You can search my name. Also, a lot of content about digital societies and data embassies and how to survive as a country in the cloud if 2 countries occupied. And that's my PhD. So if somebody wants to read deep stuff, then it's there.
Well, I'll have links to all those things. And I've seen how busy you are today. You are back to back. So just thank you for taking the time to come and speak with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And that concludes our enlightening conversation with Taavi, the man behind Estonia and also a trailblazer in the world of digital innovation. And for me, I think it was his insights into digital transformation, government policy and startup ecosystems that have provided us with a unique perspective into the real future of technology. So a big thank you to him for joining me today and sharing his invaluable experiences and vision about how technology can revolutionise not just industries in the private sector, but entire nations. And for everyone listening in, please remember the digital world holds endless possibilities. And I think ultimately it's up to each and every one of us to be the change we want to see and to embrace technology, innovate and create that better future. But as always, let me know your thoughts. Email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram @NeilCHughes. I'll return again tomorrow, but right now I'm going to hit that show floor again. So a big thank you for listening as always. And until next time, don't be a stranger.